Hello everyone, welcome back to another Project Gladiator Wednesday update. Today I'll be covering the weather for the rest of the week of November 22nd until November 26th. So let's take a look at the current forecasted areas for severe thunderstorms. For today, we currently don't have any forecasted areas for severe thunderstorms or general thunderstorms, and that does stand for tomorrow as well as our day 3 outlook on Friday. So as for Thanksgiving Day, which is tomorrow, we currently don't have any forecasted areas as far as severe thunderstorms or any general thunderstorms, but we are expected to see some other threats on Thanksgiving tomorrow. Taking a look at our excessive rainfall forecasts, anywhere from day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5, we currently don't have any forecasted areas for flash flooding for the rest of the week. However, for our winter weather outlooks, you can see we are expected to have quite a bit of heavy snow for Wyoming, southern Montana, up across some of the Rockies of Montana, as well as Idaho into parts of northern Nevada. For tomorrow, we are expected to see that snow really pick up as a cold front continues to progress southeastward across the Rocky Mountains, with just a ton of snow for Wyoming, Nebraska, Colorado, parts of northwestern Kansas, Utah, parts of eastern Nevada, and southern Idaho. Um, and that should continue into Friday as well, with not as much snow, but still quite a bit of heavy snow for the Rocky Mountains, for Colorado into northern New Mexico, as well as for some of the high plains in western Kansas, southern Nebraska, into parts of eastern Colorado. So we are expected to see quite a bit of heavy snow for the second half of this week. For our day 4 outlook to our day 7 outlook, which are definitely more subject to change than our day 1 to 3 outlooks for heavy snow. For Saturday, we are expected to see quite a bit of heavy snow for the Central Plains there. Anywhere from southern Nebraska into the Texas Panhandle, as well as a little bit of an area for southern Colorado and northern New Mexico. And the snow is really expected to die down on past that, but we could see that snow pick up again for the New England corridor here for parts of Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, with a little bit of areas for New York and the Erie region of Pennsylvania there. Then we can also take a look at what our fronts are expected to look like for the second half of this week. For today, notice that the cold front has exited out into the Atlantic Ocean, so we are expected to see quite a bit of colder air in the eastern half of the United States because of that cold front. It should drop temperatures anywhere from the 30s to 40s, especially at night. Um, and then we also have a cold front back behind that is expected to continue to progress into the Central Plains and the Midwest and Ohio River Valley, as well as back up into the Rocky Mountains. That's what's leading to those snow showers. Um, and around Sunday, we are expected to kind of see this cold front kind of split here. We are expected to see the cold front extend across the southeast and into the Atlantic Ocean, but then we also have the ton of snow for the Central Plains and Rocky Mountains. And you can see on Sunday, we are expected to see a little bit of a diffuse front extend across the southern Central Plains into the Midwest because of that split from the other cold front that is going to spread out into next week, really spread out across the eastern half of the United States, leading to quite a bit of rain for early next week across the eastern U.S. Taking a look at our weather models, starting off with our 500 millibars like we usually do. Notice this trough here that is in Mexico. This did split away from the first trough that we did see earlier this week, and this trough is expected to ride along the Gulf Coast states. Not expected to lead to any severe thunderstorms in the later half of this week, but we are expected to see some rain showers from this, anywhere from mostly along the Gulf Coast, but it could go more inland, mainly around the southeastern parts of the United States. Overall, showers aren't really expected to be too widespread. They should remain fairly isolated to mediumly widespread, but they shouldn't really be like covering a vast majority of the southeast. Um, but again, we are expected to see quite a bit of rainfall from this. And as for the timing, which we will go over again on our composite reflectivity, but this is expected to impact in Texas and mostly on the 23rd and then into the 24th. That is going to be getting up into some of um, the deeper southeast or the more eastern southeast, anywhere from Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, maybe parts of Florida, and into South Carolina on the 24th. And then we also have a trough that is expected to come out of the northwest, and that's going to be supporting our snow showers and some rain showers mixed in with that as well for the Rocky Mountains and into the Central Plains. Taking a look at our timing, I am going to be switching over to name 3 kilometer CONUS models real quick so we can get a more in-depth and more high resolution look at what we are expected to see for Thanksgiving tomorrow. So for tomorrow, um, we are expected to see quite a bit of snowfall for the Rocky Mountains here tomorrow in the Rocky Mountains and potentially bleeding over into the Central Plains in parts of Nebraska. Um, but again, there's gonna be quite a bit of snow for the Rocky Mountains for tomorrow, so make sure you are planning accordingly as far as Thanksgiving. We may also see a little bit of snow for the New England corridor, but overall snow should be fairly light up there, and we could also see some mixed in light rain showers there as well. And and then we are also expected to see some rain showers, some more isolated rain showers, which could be heavy and more widespread at times for anywhere along eastern, southeastern Texas into Louisiana, potentially into Mississippi for Thanksgiving. And those could potentially bleed into Alabama as well as some of the Florida Panhandle, and that's what you are expected to see for Thanksgiving. So we're going to be switching back over to our GFS models, so we can take a look at the rainfall for the rest of the week outside of Thanksgiving. Um, Outside of Thanksgiving, again, we are expected to see those snow showers for the Rocky Mountains with a little bit of rain showers mixed in with that, potentially getting as far south as Arizona. And then we are also expected to see those snowstorms bleed over into the Central Plains, anywhere from Kansas, Oklahoma, and potentially into the Texas Panhandle. We also may be able to see a little bit of sleet mixed in with that, or sorry, freezing rain actually. We may be able to see some freezing rain mixed in with that, maybe a little bit of sleet as well for the Central Plains on the 25th, and then into the 26th, that cold front is going to begin to spread out more and still lead to quite a bit of snowfall for Kansas into Missouri on the 26th, with quite a bit of heavy rain bleeding back into Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and southern Missouri as well. But that cold front is expected to expand across the Midwest and propagate eastward across the eastern half of the United States into early next week. Taking a look at our temperatures, you can see we are expected to have some fairly warm temperatures back into the Central Plains, even though we had that cold front blow through earlier this week. We are expected to see temperatures that are going to continue to remain in the mid to upper 60s, possibly getting as high as the 70s. However, as that cold front that is going to be associated with that trough that comes out of the northwest, it is going to cool down fairly quickly, especially by tomorrow in the 24th. And we are also expected to see a very strong push out of the north here, which is going to make things very, very cold in the northern half of the United States, with temperatures that are going to be getting below freezing, potentially getting as far south as Kentucky, Missouri, northern Oklahoma, and northern Virginia on the 25th. Um, That's not entirely set in stone, but it does just go to show how cold it is expected to get, especially at night, um, because of this northerly push. Um, and that should really prevent temperatures from getting back into the 60s and 70s in the central plains. So it's going to be getting very, very cold in the later half of this week into early next week. Taking a look at our dew points, we're going to be taking a look at our dew points so we can get an idea of our moisture and instability and how it might affect the threat for severe thunderstorms. Overall, it may be a little bit too cold to really support all that much of a threat for severe thunderstorms or strong instability, regardless of how much moisture we have. Um, but you can see as that cold front that did push out into the Atlantic Ocean earlier today, that cleared out the majority of our instability, and we barely have dew points are in the 60s anywhere in the United States as of right now. However, we are expected to see a little bit of moisture return, but it isn't really going to make it very far because of that cold front that we are expected to see in the later half of this week and into early next week as well. We are not expected to see all that much moisture return. It is expected to get only really to December whenever we are expected to see much more significant moisture return. But because of how far down our GFS models currently are, that may not be entirely set in stone. Things are definitely subject to change on the GFS models, especially when you're 230 something hours out. So that's not entirely set in stone, but it does look like um, moisture may be returning to the Central Plains at least sometime in December. So we are not really expected to have any kind of instability for the remaining half of November. Taking a look at our total snowfall accumulation, keep in mind that this does not take into account snowfall melting over time. So this is basically just how much snowfall we are expected to see fall in total across the United States by the end of this week. So you can see quite a bit of snow for the Rocky Mountains, anywhere from Montana, Idaho, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, the Texas Panhandle, and into Missouri, as well as probably or possibly getting into California as well, and then also a little bit for the New England corridor by the end of this week. And it does look like snowfall totals are expected to range anywhere from anywhere from 3 to possibly 6 inches in the Rocky Mountains, possibly getting up to up past 10 inches, possibly getting close to 15 inches in some regions. And for this little small portion that's been fairly consistent across various model runs of the GFS for southern Colorado, we could potentially see up to or anywhere from 15 inches to possibly up to 20 inches of snowfall for that little area in southern Colorado. And if you're curious about the location or a town for that, it's going to be south of Lake City or east slash northeast of Durango in southern Colorado. Um, for the Central Plains, though, we are expected to see much more heavy snowfall, and it's going to be much more close quarters in the Central Plains. It's probably going to be much more slow moving, though, which will lead to much higher snowfall totals in the Central Plains, where we could potentially see snowfall totals ranging anywhere from 6 inches, possibly getting up to 10 or 11 inches in the Central Plains for Kansas and northern Oklahoma. Taking a look at our climatology outlooks, starting off with our temperature outlooks. Um, for our 7-day temperature outlook, we are expected to see fairly widespread temperatures that are going to be below average, especially for the eastern U.S. into the New England corridor, where we could see upwards of a 70% chance of temperatures being below average. Um, and then we are also expected to see temperatures that are going to be below average, getting as far west as Utah and Arizona. So we are expected to see some fairly cold temperatures across the Central Plains, Rocky Mountains, and eastern half of the United States. We are expected to possibly see some above average temperatures for the southern tip of Florida, getting upwards of a 40% chance of temperatures being above normal for the southern tip of Florida. And then we are also expected to see another area for temperatures that could potentially be above average, getting upwards of a 40% chance of temperatures being above normal for northern Montana and North Dakota, as well as another location for a very small portion of northern California there along the coast, of a 40% chance of temperatures being above normal. But anywhere from California, Oregon, Washington, northern Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, and western Minnesota, we could possibly see temperatures that are going to be above normal. But then let's take a look at our precipitation outlooks for the 7 days. For the south, we are expected to see a threat for precipitation being above normal, uh, potentially getting upwards of a 50% chance of precipitation being above normal for three separate locations, for southern Florida, the southern tip of Texas, as well as western Texas, southern New Mexico, and southern Arizona. And then we are also expected to see a fairly large area where we could possibly see a below average threat for precipitation. Um, in the rest of the United States, potentially getting as far south as Kansas, Missouri, Tennessee, North Carolina, and in southern Nevada, getting upwards of 50% chance of or precipitation being below normal for the Ohio River Valley, and a 40% chance of temperatures being, or sorry, precipitation being below normal for the Rocky Mountains into the northern Central Plains. Now that I've told you the weather, please go down to the description and check out the socials for Project Gladiator. Join the Discord for any updates on Project Gladiator. And if you notice anything might have been wrong with this forecast, or you would like to make a suggestion or ask a question, please leave a comment. And two other channels that I highly suggest you check out are One Nation Weather and Weather Watcher. The links to their channels will be in the description. They are amazing at what they do. And hopefully I will be able to see you guys tomorrow with another forecast.